The smell of burnt coffee and stale grease is the perfume of my life. It clings to my uniform, a cheap polyblend that scratches my skin, and it's the last thing I smell before I step out into the damp, cold night. Tonight the smell is thicker, laced with the metallic tang of fear. It's just after 2 in the morning, and the only people left in the diner are 2 men in a booth by the window and me. They've been here for an hour, nursing 2 cups of coffee that have long gone cold. They don't look like the usual drifters or truckers. Their suits are too expensive, even if they're a little rumpled. They talk in low, urgent Russian, their eyes flicking to the door every time a car passes outside. I'm trying to be invisible, wiping down the counter for the 10th time, my movements slow and deliberate. Don't look, don't listen, just clean. The bell over the door chimes, a cheerful sound that's horribly out of place. 2 more men walk in, bringing the chill of the rain with them. They aren't in suits, they wear leather jackets, their faces hard and cruel. The air in the diner changes, thickens, becomes something you can taste. The men in the booth go silent. I freeze, my rag hovering over a sticky spot of syrup. The newcomers don't sit. They walk straight to the booth, their heavy boots thudding on the linoleum. I can't understand the words, but the tone is universal. It's an accusation, a threat. One of the suit men, the older one with a face like a tired map, holds up his hands, placating. The younger one beside him is rigid, his jaw clenched. I should run, I should hide in the kitchen, but my feet are cemented to the floor. This is a car crash in slow motion, and I'm the idiot standing on the sidewalk watching it happen. The argument escalates. Voices rise, sharp and guttural. I see a flash of metal under the jacket of one of the newcomers. My heart hammers against my ribs, a frantic bird in a cage. I take a step back, my hand slipping on the wet counter. The sound is small, a pathetic little squeak, but it's enough. All 4 heads turn toward me. For a second, no one moves, then all hell breaks loose. The first shot is so loud it physically hurts, a deafening crack that splits the air. I scream, a sound I don't even recognize as my own. The older man in the booth slumps forward, a dark flower blooming on his white shirt. Chaos erupts. The younger suit man lunges across the table, and the diner becomes a whirlwind of violence. I drop the coffee pot. It shatters, spraying hot liquid and glass across the floor. I stumble back, trying to get away, trying to become part of the wall. My hip connects with the edge of a table, sending a salt shaker skittering across the surface. I see the younger man go down. I see one of the leather-jacketed men turn his gun on me. His eyes are flat, dead. This is it. This is how I end. Not in a bed, old and gray, but on a dirty diner floor, smelling of burnt coffee and blood. The door swings open again. It doesn't chime this time. It crashes against the wall, slammed open by a force that seems to suck all the air out of the room. He stands there for a moment, a silhouette against the rain-slicked darkness. He's tall, filling the doorway, his presence an immediate, suffocating weight. He's wearing a long, black wool coat, the kind that costs more than my entire life. Water drips from his dark hair, but he doesn't seem to notice the cold or the wet. His face is in shadow, but I can feel his gaze sweep the room, taking in the bodies, the blood, the mess. It's a calm, assessing look. He isn't surprised, he's disappointed. The man with the gun turns his attention from me to the newcomer. Petrov, he spits. The man in the doorway. Petrov takes a step inside. He doesn't rush, he doesn't raise his voice, he just moves with a terrifying, liquid grace. 2 more men appear behind him, silent and efficient. They are his shadows. Petrov's men move. It's not a fight, it's an execution. It's over in seconds. The 2 attackers are on the floor, and the new men are methodically securing the room, checking pulses, moving with a practiced economy of motion. Petrov ignores them. His attention is on me. I'm still frozen, trapped between the table and the counter. My vision is starting to tunnel, the edges blurring into a gray fog. I can't get enough air. The world tilts. He walks toward me, his steps silent on the now bloody floor. He's close enough now that I can see his face. It's all sharp angles and hard lines, a face carved from granite. His eyes are dark as a winter night, and they're fixed on me. There's no anger in them, no pity, just a deep, unnerving focus, like a scientist studying a specimen. He stops in front of me. I'm shaking so hard my teeth are chattering. I try to take a step back, but my legs won't hold me. The floor rushes up to meet me. I don't hit the ground. Strong arms catch me, pulling me. If slow burn romance with high stakes is your thing, hit subscribe. Now back to the story. Up against his chest, the world snaps back into sharp, terrifying focus. My cheek is pressed against the rough wool of his coat, and I breathe in a scent that has no right to exist in this place of death and decay. It's clean, cold, and expensive, like snow and ancient forests, and something uniquely him. It's the smell of power. My body is a traitor. It sags with relief, my muscles unclenching in the grip of an iron cage. I should be fighting, screaming, doing anything to get away from the man they call the Butcher of Brooklyn, but I'm so tired. The adrenaline that kept me upright is gone, leaving behind a hollow, trembling shell. His arm is like a steel band around my waist, the other hand coming up to cup the back of my head, holding me in place. His touch is not gentle, it's proprietary, a claim. Look at me. His voice is a low rumble, a vibration I feel through my bones more than I hear with my ears. It's a command, not a request. I force my eyes open, my lashes wet with tears I don't remember shedding. I have to tilt my head back and back to see his face. The fluorescent lights of the diner flicker, casting his sharp features in a sickly, strobing light. His eyes are black holes, swallowing the light, swallowing me. There is no comfort in them, only a deep, unnerving curiosity. His gaze drops from my eyes, traveling down my face, my neck. His thumb brushes against my jawline, a calloused rasp against my skin. I flinch and his eyes snap back to mine. The flicker of something, annoyance, crosses his face before it's gone, replaced by that same unnerving stillness. His hand moves from my waist, sliding down my arm. I'm wearing a cheap long-sleeved shirt under my diner uniform. His fingers close around my wrist and he turns my arm over, exposing my inner forearm. The bruises are a ugly, mottled purple and yellow, a stark testament to a fight I lost 2 days ago. A fight that had nothing to do with Russians or guns and everything to do with a drunk husband and a wife who was too scared to leave him. My social work case file, my failure. His jaw tightens, the muscle feathers, a subtle, terrifying shift in the granite of his face. His eyes, when they lift back to mine, are no longer curious. They are cold, hard. Filled with a fury so absolute it makes the air crackle. "Who did this?" he asks. His voice is quieter now, but it's lost none of its power. It's a blade pressed against my throat. I can't speak. My throat is locked tight. If I tell him the truth, he'll go after that man, and he won't call the police. He'll bring a different kind of justice, the kind that leaves bodies in dumpsters. If I lie, he'll know. I see it in his eyes. He's a human lie detector. "I fell," I whisper, the words pathetic and flimsy in the silence. He doesn't believe me, of course he doesn't. His fingers tighten on my wrist, not enough to hurt, but enough to make a point about ownership, about control. "Don't lie to me," he says, each word a deliberate, measured drop of ice. "You will not lie to me, do you understand?" I can only nod, a jerky, terrified motion. He holds my gaze for a moment longer, a silent battle of wills that I am losing spectacularly. Then he releases my wrist and turns his head, a slight movement that is nonetheless an absolute order. One of his men, a tall, broad-shouldered shadow, steps forward. "Take care of this," Petrov says, his voice dismissive, as if he's talking about a spilled drink, not 2 dead bodies on the floor and a young man bleeding out in a booth. "All of it," the man nods. "Yes, Mr. Petrov." Petrov turns back to me. Without another word, he bends and sweeps me off my feet. I gasp, my hands flying out to steady myself, landing against his chest. My fingers dig into the hard muscle beneath the wool coat. He doesn't even seem to notice my weight. He carries me toward the door, his steps long and sure, navigating the carnage with an ease that is sickening. He steps over the shattered coffee pot, over the spreading pool of blood from the man in the leather jacket. I bury my face in his chest, squeezing my eyes shut. I don't want to see, I don't want to smell, but I can't block out the sounds, the quiet, efficient movements of his men. The wet squelch of a shoe, the low murmur of voices speaking a language I don't understand, but whose intent is terrifyingly clear. Clean up, erase. The night air hits me like a physical blow when he pushes through the diner door. It's cold, sharp, and clean, and I gulp it down like a drowning woman. The rain has stopped, but the world is slick and shimmering under the single, buzzing streetlight. A black car is idling at the curb, long and sleek and predatory. It's the kind of car that doesn't belong in this part of town, a panther that has wandered into a junkyard. One of his men opens the rear door. Petrov ducks his head and slides me onto the leather seat, his movements fluid and economical. He gets in beside me and the door closes with a solid, expensive thunk that sounds unnervingly like a vault door locking. The world outside disappears, muffled by tinted windows and soundproofed steel. I'm trapped. The car pulls away from the curb, silent as a ghost. I press myself against the opposite door, putting as much space between us as the small cabin will allow. My heart is still hammering, a frantic, painful rhythm against my ribs. I'm in a car with a killer, a man who just ordered a cleanup as if he were ordering a pizza. He saved my life. The thought is unwelcome, but it's true. The man with the flat, dead eyes was going to kill me. Petrov and his men stopped him. Why? That's the question that screams through the chaos in my head. Was it just a matter of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, or was it something more? He's not looking at me. He's staring straight ahead, his profile a study in cold perfection. The streetlights slide across his face, highlighting the harsh line of his jaw, the straight bridge of his nose, the dark sweep of his lashes. He's beautiful in the way a statue is beautiful or a winter storm is beautiful, terrifying and magnificent and utterly, utterly deadly. "What's your name?" he asks. The question is so unexpected, so normal that it takes me a second to process. "Clara," I whisper, my voice sounds thin and reedy. "Clara," he says my name like he's tasting it, testing its weight on his tongue. He doesn't offer his in return, he doesn't have to. Everyone knows who Petrov is. His reputation precedes him like a dark shadow, the butcher of Brooklyn. They say he rose to the top by being more ruthless, more creative, and more merciless than anyone else. They say he doesn't just kill his enemies, he erases them. What were you doing there, Clara? The question is calm, conversational, but it's laced with an undercurrent of steel. He's not just making small talk, he's interrogating me. I work there, I say, it's not a lie. The night shift. He's silent for a moment. I can feel him thinking, his mind a cold, calculating machine. You saw everything. It's not a question, it's a statement of fact. My blood runs cold. I saw the argument, I saw the first shot. I saw him and his men execute the other two. I saw too much. I didn't see anything, I lie, my voice trembling. He turns his head slowly and his eyes find mine in the dimness of the car. The street lights are gone now. We're moving down a dark, empty street. We are going to go over the rules, Clara. Rule number 1, you will not lie to me. We already established this. I suggest you commit it to memory. My throat is dry. I swallow hard. Rule number 2, you are now under my protection. The words hang in the air between us, heavy and absolute. Protection. It sounds like a good thing, a safe thing, but coming from him it sounds like a life sentence. What does that mean? I ask, my voice barely audible. It means the men who were in that diner, the men who work for the man they were meeting, they will be looking for you. You are a loose end, a witness. He pauses, letting the words sink in. And they will not be as gentle as I am. Gentle, the word is a joke, a sick, twisted joke. They will find you, Clara. They will find your family, your friends. They will peel your life apart piece by piece until they find you. And when they do, what they did to those men in the diner will look like a mercy. The horror of his words washes over me, a cold, paralyzing wave. He's right. I've seen what these kinds of men do to people who talk. I've seen the broken bodies, the terrified families in the case files I'm not supposed to have. So your protection, I start, unable to finish the sentence, is the only thing keeping you alive, he finishes for me. Yes. The car turns, heading onto a wider, brighter street. We're leaving my neighborhood behind, the grimy storefronts and crumbling tenements giving way to glass towers and pristine sidewalks. We're heading into his world. Why? I ask, the question bursting out of me before I can stop it. Why me? Why are you doing this? He doesn't answer for a long time. He just looks out the window, watching the city blur past. I have my reasons, he says finally, his voice flat, and you don't need to know them. The dismissal is final. It tells me exactly where I stand. I'm not a person, I'm an object, a complication, a problem he has decided to solve. We pull up to a building that pierces the night sky, a gleaming tower of glass and steel that looks more like a piece of art than a residence. It soars into the clouds, a monument to glass, steel, and obscene wealth. The car glides into a private underground garage, stopping in a space marked with a simple, elegant P. No one else is here. The silence is absolute, broken only by the soft click of our doors opening. Petrov gets out first, turning to offer me a hand. I don't want to take it. I want to shrink back into the leather seat and disappear. But the alternative is to sit here like a frightened child, and some stubborn, foolish part of me refuses to give him that satisfaction. I place my trembling fingers in his. His grip is firm, cool, and he pulls me to my feet with effortless strength. He doesn't let go. He leads me from the car, his hand enveloping mine, a manacle of flesh and bone. We walk toward a bank of elevators, our footsteps echoing in the cavernous space. His men follow behind us, a silent, looming presence. I don't dare look back at them. Petrov presses his thumb to a small, illuminated panel next to the elevators. The doors to the center car slide open silently, revealing an interior of polished dark wood and soft, ambient lighting. He pulls me inside, and the men file in after us, forming a wall at our backs. The elevator rises with a smooth, stomach-lifting surge. There are no buttons, no floor indicator. It just goes up, taking us to the top of the world, to his world. I stare at my reflection in the polished wood of the doors. I look pale and ghostly, a smudge of dirt on my cheek, my hair a tangled mess. My eyes are wide, dark pools of fear. Beside me, Petrov is a study in composed power. His coat is still immaculate, his face a mask of calm. He looks like he's just come from a board meeting, not a bloodbath. The elevator opens directly into a foyer, not a hallway, a foyer. It's larger than my entire apartment. The floor is pale, veined marble that reflects the light from a massive crystal chandelier hanging overhead. In front of us is a wall of floor-to-ceiling windows, offering a panoramic view of the city that stretches out like a carpet of scattered diamonds. It's breathtaking, it's terrifying. This is the kingdom of the Butcher of Brooklyn. Petrov finally releases my hand. The sudden loss of contact makes me feel unsteady, and I instinctively clasp my hands together in front of me. He shrugs off his wool coat, handing it to one of his men without a backward glance. Underneath, he's wearing a simple, perfectly tailored black shirt that does nothing to hide the powerful lines of his body. He walks toward the windows, his back to me, leaving me standing there, small and lost in the vastness of his home. You will stay here, he says, his voice quiet but carrying easily in the cavernous space. He gestures to a door on the far side of the living area. That room is yours. You will not enter any other room without my permission. You will not try to leave the apartment. There are sensors on every window and door. You will not use the phone. You will not access the internet. Do you understand? I nod again, the same jerky, terrified motion from the diner. My throat is too tight to speak. He turns and his eyes, dark and unreadable, pin me in place. Rule number 3, Clara, you are a guest. Act like one. That means you do not touch what is not yours. You do not go where you are not wanted, and you do not ask questions. His gaze sweeps over me from my dirty sneakers to my tangled hair. A flicker of something disgust, annoyance, crosses his face before being smoothed away. You will be provided with everything you need, clothes, food. A doctor will come to look at your bruises. A doctor. The thought sends a fresh wave of panic through me. A doctor on his payroll. Someone who won't ask questions, who will patch me up and keep his secrets. I don't need a doctor, I say, my voice a hoarse whisper. He takes a step toward me and I flinch. He stops, his jaw tightening. We are not negotiating. You are bruised. You will be seen. He turns to one of his men. Anton, the man who drove us, steps forward. Yes, Mr. Petrov, get her what she needs, clothes, toiletries, her size. He gives me a quick, impersonal once-over that makes my skin crawl. And find Dr. Aris, tell him to come now. Yes, Mr. Petrov. Anton gives a slight bow and disappears down another hallway, leaving me alone with Petrov and the other 2 men. Go to your room, Petrov says, his tone dismissing me. Stay there until the doctor arrives. I don't need to be told twice. I turn and walk quickly across the marble floor, my footsteps sounding loud and clumsy. I can feel his eyes on my back, a physical weight. I reach the door he indicated and open it, stepping inside before I can lose my nerve. I close the door behind me, leaning my back against it, my heart pounding so hard I think it might burst from my chest. I'm in a bedroom, and like the rest of the apartment, it's huge and impersonal. A king-sized bed with a simple gray duvet dominates the space. The furniture is dark wood, clean-lined and expensive. There's another wall of windows showing the glittering expanse of the Brooklyn Bridge. A door on the far wall stands slightly ajar, revealing a glimpse of a pristine white bathroom. It's a beautiful room. It's a prison cell. I push myself off the door and walk toward the bathroom. I need to know the extent of the damage. I flip on the light. The room is all white marble and chrome, so clean it gleams. I approach the vanity and look in the mirror. The girl staring back at me is a stranger. Her face is pale, her lips parted in a silent O of shock. A dark bruise is already blooming on my cheekbone, a sickening purple and blue. There's a scrape on her chin. My eyes are haunted, wide with a terror I can feel vibrating through my entire body. I look down at my hands. They're shaking. I turn on the faucet, letting the water run until it's hot. I cup my hands under the stream and splash my face, the heat a small shock against my cold skin. I scrub at the dirt on my cheek, my movements frantic. It doesn't help. I can't wash away the memory of the gunshot, the sight of the man's dead eyes, the feeling of Petrov's hand on my wrist. I can't wash away the fear. I grip the edge of the vanity, my knuckles white, and breathe deeply, trying to force the air into my lungs. You are a social worker, you help people, you are strong, but I don't feel strong, I feel like a fraud. I spent my days trying to get kids out of the clutches of men like him, and now I'm trapped in the lion's den. I have to find a way out. I have to remember my mission. I'm not just Clara, the witness. I'm Clara, the social worker who has enough evidence in a hidden locker to bring down Petrov's entire operation. Evidence I gathered over months, getting close to low-level enforcers, documenting their movements, their payoffs. The rival gang in the diner, they were small fry. The real prize is Petrov, and now I'm closer to him than I ever dreamed possible. I straighten up, staring at my reflection. I force my expression to change, smoothing the fear from my eyes, replacing it with a mask of calm I don't feel. I am undercover. This is my assignment now. I need to observe. I need to gather information. I need to survive. A soft knock comes at the bedroom door. I jump, my heart leaping into my throat. Miss, a voice calls. The doctor is here. I take one last, steadying breath and walk out of the bathroom. Anton is standing by the door, and beside him is a small, older man with a kind face and a leather medical bag. He looks completely out of place here. Miss, the doctor says, his voice gentle. My name is Dr. Aris. Mr. Petrov asked me to look at you. He gestures toward a small armchair in the corner of the room. Please sit. I do as he asks, my body moving mechanically. He kneels in front of me, opening his bag. He's gentle, his touch light as he probes the bruise on my cheek, checks my pupils, examines the scrape on my chin. You have a mild concussion, he says, his voice professional but kind, and some nasty bruising. You were very lucky. The word is so absurd I almost laugh. I don't feel lucky, I feel cursed. He cleans the scrape on my chin with an antiseptic wipe that stings, then applies a small bandage. He gives me a tube of arnica cream for the bruise and 2 small white pills for the pain. Take these, he says, placing them in my palm. They will help you sleep. I nod, swallowing them dry. As he packs up his bag, he hesitates, his eyes meeting mine for a brief moment. There's a flicker of sympathy in them, a look that says I'm sorry. Then it's gone, replaced by a professional blankness. He stands and bows slightly to me, then to Anton before letting himself out. Anton follows him and the door closes, leaving me alone again. I sit in the chair for a long time, the city lights twinkling outside the window, a silent, indifferent audience to my private hell. The pills begin to work, a fuzzy warmth spreading through my limbs, dulling the sharp edges of my fear. I'm so tired. My eyelids feel heavy, my body a deep well of exhaustion. I force myself up and stumble toward the bed. I don't bother to get under the covers. I just lie down on top of the duvet, fully dressed, and let the darkness pull me under. I wake up to the sound of the door clicking open. My eyes fly open, my body tensing. For a moment, I don't know where I am, then it all comes rushing back. The diner, the blood, Petrov. I sit up, my heart hammering. A woman is standing just inside the doorway, holding a few garment bags. She's middle-aged, with a severe face and her hair pulled back in a tight bun. She's wearing a simple black dress. "Mr. Petrov sent these for you," she says, her voice crisp and devoid of emotion. She walks to the foot of the bed and lays the bags down. There are clothes, undergarments, and toiletries. The bathroom is stocked for you. She doesn't look at me, her gaze fixed on the bags. "You are to shower and change. Mr. Petrov will be waiting for you for dinner in half an hour." She turns and leaves, closing the door softly behind her. Dinner with him. The thought makes my stomach clench. I look at the garment bags. They're from stores I've only ever walked past, stores where a single dress costs more than my monthly rent. This is another part of the cage, dressing up for the keeper. I swing my legs off the bed and stand up. My head swims for a second, but the pain in my cheek is a dull throb now, thanks to the pills. I walk into the bathroom. The toiletries are indeed there, all high-end brands I don't recognize, arranged with military precision on the pristine counter. I strip off my dirty clothes, the uniform of my old life, and step into the shower. The water is hot and powerful, beating against my skin, and I stand under it for a long time, trying to wash away the last 24 hours. But I can't. The memories are tattooed on my brain. I get out and wrap myself in a thick, soft towel. I open the garment bags. Inside is a simple, elegant black dress. It's sleeveless, made of a soft, heavy fabric that drapes beautifully. There's also a set of exquisite, lacy lingerie in a neutral beige and a pair of simple black high heels. I stare at them. This isn't me. I live in jeans and practical shoes. My work clothes are meant to be unobtrusive, to help me blend in, not stand out. This dress is the opposite. It's a statement, it's a declaration of ownership. I take a deep breath and pull it on. The fabric is cool against my skin, clinging to my curves in a way that feels both empowering and vulnerable. I fasten the delicate lingerie, the lace a soft whisper against my skin. The heels are impossibly high, and I wobble for a second before finding my balance. I look at myself in the mirror again. The stranger is back, but this time she's not just bruised and terrified. She's polished, elegant, and looks like she belongs in a place like this. It's a perfect disguise. I run a hand through my tangled hair, wishing I had a brush. As if on cue, I see one on the counter, along with a hairdryer and other styling products. I quickly work the tangles out, pulling my hair back into a simple, sleek chignon at the nape of my neck. It exposes the bruise on my cheek, but there's nothing I can do about that. It's a part of the story now. I apply a touch of the expensive-looking lotion to my skin, the scent a faint, clean floral. I look ready. I look like a woman dining with a mafia boss. I just have to remember I'm also the woman who plans to destroy him. I open the bedroom door and step out. The main living space is even more impressive than I remember. It's a vast, open-plan room with floor-to-ceiling windows that offer a breathtaking panoramic view of the city skyline. The furniture is minimalist and expensive, all clean lines and neutral colors. A fire crackles softly in a sleek, modern fireplace, and he's there. He's standing by the windows, his back to me, looking out at the city he owns. He's wearing a dark suit, tailored to perfection, the fabric stretching across broad shoulders that taper to a lean waist. He doesn't turn, but I know he's aware of me. I can feel it in the sudden stillness of the room, in the way the air seems to crackle with an unspoken energy. I stand there for a moment, my heart a frantic drum against my ribs, unsure of what to do. "Come," he says, his voice a low rumble that vibrates through the floor. He turns then, and my breath catches. The man from the market is gone, replaced by this figure of immense power and control. His face is harsh, all sharp angles and hard lines, but his eyes are the same, dark, intense, and fixed on me with an unnerving focus. He gestures toward a dining table set for two in the center of the room. It's a simple setting, white china, crystal glasses, silver cutlery, but it looks like the most formal dinner I've ever attended. I walk toward him on the unsteady heels, my steps slow and deliberate. I feel like I'm approaching an altar. He pulls out a chair for me, a gesture that's so unexpectedly gentlemanly it throws me off balance. I murmur a quiet "thank you" and sit, smoothing the dress over my knees. He takes the seat opposite me. For a moment, we just sit in silence. A man in a crisp white uniform appears from a side door I hadn't noticed, carrying two plates. He sets them down with quiet efficiency, a seared scallop dish for me, a steak for him. He pours a deep red wine into my glass, then Petrov's, and retreats as silently as he came. The food smells incredible, but my stomach is in knots. I pick up my fork, my hand trembling slightly. Eat, Petrov commands. It's not a request. I take a small bite of the scallop. It melts in my mouth, sweet and savory. It's the best thing I've ever tasted. You are feeling better? He asks, his gaze unwavering. I swallow. The doctor helped, thank you. He nods slowly, taking a sip of his wine. You will tell me who did this to you. It's not a question, it's a statement of expectation. I put my fork down, my appetite gone. It was a misunderstanding. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. His lips thin into a hard line. Do not lie to me, Clara. The sound of my name on his lips sends a shiver down my spine. I do not tolerate lies, and I do not tolerate the men who put their hands on women. You will tell me their names. I can feel the pressure of his will, a physical force in the room. He's used to being obeyed, but I can't tell him. If I tell him they were from a rival gang, he'll know I'm more than just a random witness. He'll start asking questions I can't answer. Questions about why I was there, what I saw. I don't know their names, I say, my voice barely a whisper. It's the truth, at least. They were just some men. He studies my face, his eyes searching for any sign of deception. I hold my breath, willing him to believe me. I've spent years learning how to control my expressions, how to project an aura of harmless innocence. It's my only defense. They will be found, he says, his voice dropping to a dangerously low register, and they will be dealt with. No one touches what is mine. The words hang in the air between us, possessive and terrifying. What is mine? I'm not a person to him, I'm an object, a prize he snatched from his enemies. I pick up my fork again, forcing myself to eat. I need to show him I'm not broken, that I'm not just a frightened victim. I need him to underestimate me. Why are you helping me? I ask, the question slipping out before I can stop it. He arches a dark eyebrow. I saw a woman in trouble. I acted. It's a simple answer, but I don't believe it for a second. Men like him don't act out of the goodness of their hearts. You don't know me, I press. I could be anyone, I could be a threat. A small, humorless smile touches his lips. You are a threat, Clara, but not to me. He leans forward, his forearms resting on the table. The movement brings him closer, and I can feel the heat radiating from his body. I can smell his cologne, a rich, spicy scent of sandalwood and leather. It's intoxicating. You are a threat to the men who are hunting you, and that makes you my problem. You were in my market, you fell at my feet. Your safety is now a reflection of my power. If they can take you, they can take anything. I do not allow that. It's a chillingly logical explanation. It's not about me. It's about his reputation, his territory, his dominance. I'm just a pawn in his war, but his protection is the only thing standing between me and a shallow grave in the East River. For now, our interests align. What happens now? I ask, my voice steadier than I feel. You stay here, he says, as if it's the most obvious thing in the world. You will be safe, you will want for nothing. And what about my life, my job, my family? I can't keep the edge of desperation out of my voice. They are gone, he says, his tone flat, devoid of sympathy. The woman you were is dead. The moment you saw what you saw, you signed her death warrant. You are Clara now, and Clara lives here. With me, the finality of his words crashes down on me. He's not just protecting me, he's erasing me. He's cutting me off from everything and everyone I've ever known. I'm trapped in this gilded cage, completely at his mercy. I look down at my plate, the beautiful food suddenly tasting like ash. I have to play along, I have to bide my time. My mission isn't over, it's just changed. I'm no longer gathering evidence from the outside, I'm on the inside. I look up and meet his gaze, forcing a mask of resignation onto my face. And what will I do here? I ask, my voice quiet. You will heal, he says, and you will accompany me. I frown. Accompany you where? I am hosting a charity gala this weekend, he says, watching my reaction closely. At the Metropolitan Museum, I need a date. The air leaves my lungs. A charity gala, the Butcher of Brooklyn hosting a charity gala. The hypocrisy is staggering, but it's also an opportunity. Chance to be seen in his world, to meet his associates, to gather information. This is the test from the blueprint. He's testing my obedience, my willingness to play the part of his mall. I can see it in his eyes. He's waiting for me to refuse, to argue, to show him the frightened social worker underneath the designer dress. I take a slow sip of wine, the liquid a dark, velvety warmth in my throat. I set the glass down carefully. A charity gala, I say, keeping my voice neutral. That sounds lovely. The surprise that flashes across his face is almost imperceptible, but I see it. He expected a fight, he didn't get one. The slight curve of his lips this time isn't humorless, it's genuine, a flicker of something that looks like approval or maybe just intrigue. I am glad you think so, he says. You will need a dress, something more appropriate than business. He gestures vaguely at my black dress. My assistant will take you shopping tomorrow. He's arranging my life, my schedule, my wardrobe, and I'm letting him, because I have to, because this is the only way. Of course, I say, dipping my head in a gesture of submission that feels completely alien to me. Thank you. We finish the rest of the meal in a strange, tense silence. He doesn't ask any more questions about my attackers, and I don't volunteer any information. Instead, he asks me about art, about the view from the window, about the wine. It's a perfectly normal conversation, and it's the most surreal experience of my life. We are two people from different universes pretending to share the same space. When the dessert plates are cleared, he stands up. I have business to attend to, he says. Anton will show you back to your room, do not leave it. The command is clear. I nod, rising from my chair. As I turn to follow Anton, who has appeared from the shadows as if by magic, Petrov's voice stops me. Clara, I turn back. He's standing close, too close. He reaches out and his fingers gently brush the bruise on my cheek. His touch is electric, a jolt of fear and something else I refuse to name. His eyes are dark, unreadable. Sleep well, he says, his voice a low murmur. Tomorrow, your new life begins. He walks away without another word, disappearing through the same door the waiter used. I stand there for a long moment, my skin tingling where he touched me. I can still smell his cologne. I can still feel the intensity of his gaze. I'm not just his prisoner, I'm his project. And I have a terrible feeling that the most dangerous part of this mission isn't the rival gang hunting me. It's the man who's decided to save me. Anton leads me not to the bedroom from before, but down a long, softly lit hallway to a different door. He opens it, gestures me inside, and closes it behind me with a soft, definitive click. The lock doesn't engage, but it doesn't have to. This whole apartment is a lock. I stand in the center of a room that is larger than my entire old apartment. A king-sized bed with a dove-gray duvet dominates the space, facing a wall of windows that looks out over the glittering expanse of Manhattan. The city is a sprawling circuit board of light, beautiful and utterly indifferent. My reflection stares back at me from the dark glass, a pale, ghostly figure in a simple black dress, a bruise blooming on her cheek like a dark, forbidden flower. What is mine? Petrov's words echo in the silence, a counterpoint to the distant wail of a siren. I'm not his. I'm a social worker from Queens with a mountain of student debt and a stubborn belief in justice. But that woman feels like a lifetime ago, a character in a book I once read. I touch my cheek where his fingers brushed my skin. The memory of his touch is a brand, a low hum of electricity beneath my skin that is part fear, part something I am absolutely not ready to name. I can't afford to feel anything for him. He is the monster I've been tasked with exposing, the head of the very organization that has poisoned the neighborhoods I've sworn to protect. The fact that he's also my savior is a complication so twisted it makes my head ache. I turn away from the window and force myself into motion. I can't stand here and succumb to a panic attack. I need information. I need to understand the cage I'm in. I start with the room. It's impeccably clean, minimalist to the point of being sterile. The closet is empty, save for a few plush hangers. The drawers are bare. The ensuite bathroom is a temple of white marble and chrome with products that smell of expensive, unisex citrus. There are no personal touches, no photos, no books, no clutter. It's a hotel room, not a home, a beautiful, luxurious prison cell. I press my ear to the walls, feeling foolish. I check the phone on the bedside table. It's a sleek, modern model, but when I pick it up, the screen is blank. There's no dial tone, just a dead piece of plastic. Of course, I'm cut off. I walk back to the window and press my forehead against the cool glass. Down below, the traffic flows on the FDR drive. I'm so close to the world I know, yet impossibly far away. My mission. I close my eyes, picturing the file I'd been building, the ledger I'd accidentally photographed, the faces of the men in the warehouse. The rival gang, the Volkovs, are a threat, but they're a symptom. The disease is Petrov's organization. And now I'm in the heart of it. He thinks he's protecting a random witness. He has no idea he's given the key to his kingdom to the one person who wants to burn it down. A new resolve hardens in my chest. I will play the part of Clara, the grateful, fragile woman. I will wear the dresses and smile at his side, and I will watch everything. I will listen to everything. I will be the perfect doll until the moment I can plunge the knife into his back. The thought brings me no comfort, only a cold, sharp sense of purpose. I don't sleep. I lie on the ridiculously comfortable bed and watch the sky lighten over the city, turning the black water of the East River to a dull, steely gray. I am awake when a soft knock comes at the door. "Miss," a female voice calls out. "It's Isabella. Mr. Petrov sent me to help you get ready for the day." I sit up, my heart thudding. "Come in." The door opens and a woman in her late 20s steps inside. She's impeccably dressed in a cream-colored pantsuit, her dark hair pulled back in a severe but elegant chignon. She carries a leather portfolio and has the polite, unflappable demeanor of a high-end personal assistant, but her eyes, when they meet mine, are careful. She scans the bruise on my face, then quickly looks away. "Good morning," she says, her voice smooth and professional. "I've brought you some things, coffee, croissants." And the itinerary for today. She places a tray on a small table and then opens her portfolio. First breakfast, then at 10 we have a private appointment at Bergdorf Goodman. Mr. Petrov was insistent that you have a new wardrobe. He said to spare no expense. She says it without a flicker of emotion, as if discussing the purchase of office supplies. And after that, I ask, my voice raspy from a sleepless night, "You'll have the afternoon to rest." Mr. Petrov thought you might need it before tonight. She doesn't elaborate on what tonight is, but I know, the gala, the test. "Okay," I say, playing my part. "That sounds fine." Isabella gives me a small, practiced smile. "Excellent, I'll be in the living room when you're ready, take your time." She retreats, closing the door softly behind her. I pour a cup of coffee, my hands trembling slightly. The aroma is rich and real, a small anchor in the sea of unreality. I'm going shopping. With the butcher of Brooklyn's credit card. It's absurd, it's grotesque, but it's my first step outside this penthouse. It's my first chance to see the world he controls. An hour later, I'm seated in the back of a blacked-out SUV, Isabella beside me and two of Petrov's men in the front. The city blurs past, a world of normalcy I am no longer a part of. People walk their dogs, rush to work, live their lives. I envy them with a fierce, painful ache. Bergdorf Goodman is quiet when we arrive, open just for us. A personal shopper, a woman named Catherine with a razor-sharp bob and an even sharper gaze, greets us at the door. Mr. Petrov called ahead, she says, her smile a little too bright. We've pulled a few selections for you. The private showroom is a cavern of luxury. Racks of clothing in every conceivable color and fabric stand like silent soldiers. Mannequins wear ensembles that cost more than my annual salary. It's overwhelming. We'll start with daywear, Catherine says, clapping her hands together. Then we can move on to the more evening-specific pieces. She eyes my bruise again, her curiosity barely contained. I let them lead me from rack to rack. I try on silk blouses and tailored trousers, soft cashmere sweaters and elegant sheath dresses. Everything is exquisite, everything fits perfectly. Isabella approves each choice with a silent nod. I feel like a life-sized doll being dressed for her owner. I try to engage Catherine in small talk, asking about the designers, the trends. She's polite but deflects, her eyes constantly flicking towards the two hulking bodyguards who stand like statues by the door. No one here is going to give me any information. We move on to the evening gowns. This is the main event. Catherine pulls out a few options: a slinky silver number, a classic black velvet gown, a bold red dress that screams for attention. Then she pulls out the last one. It's a creation of deep emerald green silk chiffon. It's simple in its design, with a cowl neck that drapes elegantly and a high slit-up one leg. It's not flashy, it's sophisticated, sensual, and powerful. This one, Isabella says before I can even speak. Her voice is firm. It's not a suggestion, it's a command. I go into the dressing room and slip it on. The silk feels like cool water against my skin. I look in the mirror and barely recognize myself. The green brings out the color of my eyes, making them seem brighter, more intense. The dress clings in all the right places, the slit offering a daring glimpse of my leg. It's a weapon, it's armor, it's a cage, all in one. I step out. Catherine's eyes widen. Isabella gives a slow, deliberate nod of approval. Mr. Petrov will be pleased, she says. The words send a shiver through me. This isn't for me, it's for him. I'm being dressed to his specifications. As we're finalizing the choices, I decide to test the waters. It's all so beautiful, I say to Isabella, my voice light. I can't believe Mr. Petrov is going to all this trouble for a charity event. Isabella is folding a cashmere sweater with precise, economical movements. Mr. Petrov is a very generous man, she says, her tone neutral. The Children's Hospital is a cause that is very close to his heart. A children's hospital, the butcher of Brooklyn, a philanthropist. The hypocrisy is so thick I could choke on it. That's wonderful, I say, forcing a smile. It must be a lot of work organizing something so big. He has a good team, she says, dismissing the topic. She straightens up, her task complete. Are you ready to go? I nod, my mind racing. As we walk towards the exit, a movement across the street catches my eye. A man leaning against a lamppost, pretending to read a newspaper, but I recognize the set of his shoulders, the cruel twist of his mouth. He was one of the men in the market, one of the men who chased me. My blood runs cold. I stumble, grabbing Isabella's arm. Are you all right? She asks, her voice sharp with concern. Just a little dizzy, I lie, my eyes fixed on the man. He looks up, his eyes, cold and flat as river stones, meeting mine for a split second before he pushes off the lamppost and melts into the pedestrian flow. A jolt of pure, undiluted terror shoots through me, so potent it makes my knees weak. He saw me, he knows where I am. Clara, Isabella's voice is sharp, cutting through the fog of my fear. Her hand is steady on my arm, her grip surprisingly strong. What is it? Nothing, I gasp, forcing my gaze away from the spot where the man disappeared. My heart is a frantic drum against my ribs, a wild, trapped thing. I just felt faint. It's probably the lack of sleep. Isabella doesn't look convinced. Her eyes narrow, scanning the street with a new, sharp intensity. The two bodyguards, who had been maintaining a respectful distance, are instantly alert. One of them, a mountain of a man with a scarred knuckles, moves to stand slightly in front of me, blocking me from the street's view. The other is already on his phone, his voice a low, urgent murmur. Let's get you to the car, Isabella says, her tone leaving no room for argument. Her professional mask has slipped, revealing the steel beneath. She isn't just a personal assistant, she's part of this world, a soldier in Petrov's army. She practically guides me, her hand firm on my elbow, the few feet back to the waiting SUV. The shoppers and the doorman blur into an indistinct background. All I can think about is the man's face, the promise of violence in his eyes. The Volkovs, they found me, here in the middle of Manhattan on a bright, sunny morning. The illusion of safety Petrov had built around me shatters into a million pieces. I'm not safe in his penthouse. I'm not safe on the street. I'm not safe anywhere. The SUV door is open, and Isabella ushers me inside, sliding in beside me before the bodyguard closes the door with a solid, definitive thud. The tinted windows block out the world, plunging us into a cool, dim silence. I'm shaking, a fine tremor that starts in my hands and travels up my arms. I wrap them around myself, trying to hold it together. "Tell me what you saw," Isabella says. Her voice is calm, but it's the calm of a predator, not a friend. I hesitate. Telling her the truth means admitting I'm a specific target, not just a random witness. It means giving them more information, more control, but lying now seems pointless. They already know something is wrong. "A man," I say, my voice barely a whisper. "Across the street, by the lamppost. He was in the market yesterday, one of the men who were chasing me." Isabella's face remains impassive, but I see a flicker of something in her eyes, calculation, maybe even a touch of anger. She doesn't look at me but straight ahead at the partitions separating us from the driver. "Did he see you?" "Yes," I breathe, the word tasting like ash. Our eyes met. She gives a single, sharp nod. "All right." She pulls out her own phone, her fingers flying across the screen. The silence that follows is thick and heavy, broken only by the soft click of her nails on the glass and the ragged sound of my own breathing. I'm a liability, a complication. The thought is a cold knot in my stomach. What do they do with liabilities? The drive back to the penthouse is a blur of gray city and green light. I press my forehead against the cool glass of the window, watching the world I'm supposed to be saving pass by without me. Every face in the crowd is a potential threat. Every car that follows us for more than a block sends a spike of adrenaline through my veins. I'm trapped in a gilded cage and the wolves are scratching at the door. When we finally pull into the underground garage, the SUV stops directly in front of the private elevator. The bodyguard from the front passenger seat opens my door. "Miss," he says, his voice a low rumble. He doesn't touch me, but his presence is a clear directive. Isabella is already out of the car, striding toward the elevator. "Come," she calls over her shoulder, not waiting. I follow, my legs feeling like lead. The elevator ride is silent and swift. When the doors open into the penthouse, I see him. Dmitry Petrov is standing by the floor-to-ceiling windows, his back to us, looking out over the city. He's wearing a dark suit, the fabric stretching across his broad shoulders, a stark silhouette against the bright afternoon light. He doesn't turn around, but I know he's aware of our every move. The air in the room is charged, humming with a dangerous energy. "Report," he says. His voice is low, a quiet rumble that vibrates through the floorboards. Isabella stops a few feet behind him. "We had an incident outside Bergdorf's," she says, her tone crisp and professional. "Clara saw one of them, a man she recognized from the market." Petrov turns then slowly. His face is a mask of cold fury, his dark eyes like chips of obsidian. They land on me and I flinch, taking an involuntary step back. I see the butcher of Brooklyn now, the man the stories are about, the man who skins his enemies alive. The fear I felt on the street is nothing compared to the terror that grips me now. "Who?" he asks, his voice dangerously soft. "I don't know his name," I stammer, my throat dry. "He was just a man leaning against a lamppost. He had a scar on his chin." Petrov's gaze doesn't waver. He takes a step toward me and I instinctively shrink back, but Isabella is behind me, a solid, unmovable barrier. Petrov stops a few feet away, his eyes scanning my face, my bruised cheek, the fear in my eyes. The anger in his expression doesn't soften, but it changes, morphs into something else. "Something possessive. They're getting bold," he says, more to himself than to us. He turns his head slightly. "Leo." The bodyguard who had been standing by the door steps forward. "Boss. Take a team, go back to Bergdorf's, talk to the street vendors, the doorman, find out who our new friend is. I want a name and an address by sunset." His voice is devoid of emotion, but the command is absolute. "Yes, boss." Leo gives a curt nod and disappears into the elevator. The room is silent again, the three of us locked in a tense tableau. Petrov's eyes are still on me. "Are you hurt?" he asks. The question is so unexpected, so out of place, it takes me a moment to process it. "No," I whisper, "I'm just scared." "You shouldn't be scared," he says, his voice dropping to a low, intimate register that sends a shiver down my spine. "You should be angry." He closes the remaining distance between us, his movements fluid and predatory. He reaches out and I flinch, but his fingers don't hurt me. He gently tucks a strand of hair behind my ear, his thumb brushing against my cheekbone just below the bruise. His touch is surprisingly warm, a stark contrast to the coldness in his eyes. They dared to touch what is mine, he murmurs, his gaze dark and intense. They dared to frighten you on my streets, in my city. The words are a declaration, a branding. What is mine? The phrase should repulse me, but instead a strange, forbidden warmth spreads through my chest. It's the most terrifying feeling of all. Mr. Petrov, Isabella starts, but he cuts her off with a sharp look. Leave us, he commands. Isabella hesitates for a fraction of a second, then gives a deferential nod. Of course, the dress will be pressed and ready for 7. I'll have the jeweler send up a selection. She retreats, her footsteps silent on the thick carpet, leaving me alone with the beast. The moment the elevator doors close, the atmosphere shifts. Petrov drops his hand, but his eyes remain locked on mine. He circles me slowly, like a shark assessing its prey. I stand frozen, my heart pounding, every nerve ending alight. This changes things, he says, his voice quiet but resonant. The Volkovs are no longer just a nuisance, they've made it personal. They were already personal, I say, my voice stronger than I expect. They've been hunting me since the warehouse. He stops in front of me, a faint, humorless smile touching his lips. That was business, a loose end to be tied up. This, he gestures vaguely in the direction of the street. This is a challenge. They came into my territory after my guest. He says the word guest like it's a joke we both understand. They think they can send a message. They think I'm distracted. He steps closer again, his body radiating a heat that is both intimidating and strangely compelling. I can smell his cologne, a subtle, expensive scent of sandalwood and spice. They are wrong. Tonight, at the gala, we will show them just how wrong they are. What are you going to do? I ask, dreading the answer. His smile widens, but it doesn't reach his eyes. I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to remind them who owns this city. And you, he says, his voice dropping, his gaze burning into mine, you are going to stand by my side and be the most beautiful, most untouchable woman in that room. You are going to smile and laugh and pretend you don't have a care in the world. Can you do that for me, Clara? It's not a request, it's a test, a command. My mind screams at me to refuse, to fight, to run. But my body, my treacherous body, is responding to the raw power in his voice, to the dark promise in his eyes. He's offering me a different kind of protection, not the shelter of a victim, but the armor of a queen. It's a dangerous, intoxicating lie. Yes, I hear myself say, the word a soft breath in the charged air. I can do that. Good, he seems pleased, but his expression remains hard. Because tonight, you are not just my guest, you are my declaration, and no one touches what belongs to me. He turns and walks away, leaving me standing in the middle of the vast, silent room, trembling with a mixture of fear and a horrifying, undeniable thrill. I am in the lion's den, and the lion has just decided to put a collar around my neck. The worst part is, a part of me is starting to like the feel of it. The hours until the gala crawl by. I retreat to the bedroom, the emerald green dress hanging from the closet door like a silent, watchful sentinel. I try to rest, but sleep is impossible. My mind is a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. The terror of the Volkovs, the suffocating control of Petrov, the insidious pull of his protection. I'm a pawn in their war, a trophy to be won or a loose end to be eliminated. My mission feels like a distant dream, a life I lived 100 years ago. How can I expose him when I can barely breathe in his presence? At 6:30, there's a soft knock. Isabella enters, this time followed by a small, middle-aged woman carrying a makeup case. Time to get ready, Isabella announces, her all-business demeanor firmly back in place. I submit to the process with a strange sense of detachment. The makeup artist works on my face, concealing the last faint traces of the bruise, highlighting my eyes, giving my lips a subtle, glossy sheen. Isabella directs her with quiet precision. A little more definition on the brows. We want her to look strong, not fragile. When they're done, I barely recognize the woman in the mirror. My eyes look huge and luminous, my skin flawless. I look like the kind of woman who belongs on the arm of a man like Dmitry Petrov. The thought is unsettling. Isabella helps me into the dress. The silk chiffon whispers against my skin, cool and smooth. She zips it up, her touch efficient. Then she opens a velvet box from the jeweler. Inside is a stunning necklace of emeralds and diamonds, a constellation of fire and ice. Mr. Petrov thought this would complement the dress, she says. She fastens it around my neck. The cool weight of the stones settles against my throat, a beautiful heavy collar. I feel like I'm being dressed for a sacrifice. Finally, she brings out a pair of silver stilettos, so high they seem like weapons. I slip them on, and suddenly I'm taller. My posture changes. I feel powerful, dangerous, and utterly exposed. Perfect, Isabella says, stepping back to admire her handiwork. He'll be pleased. The words send a shiver of dread and something else, something dark and thrilling, straight through me. He'll be pleased. I am not a doll to be dressed for his approval, yet here I stand, a perfect, silent testament to his power. The reflection in the mirror is a stranger, a beautiful, dangerous creature with my eyes. A knock at the door breaks the spell. Isabella opens it and he is there, Dmitry Petrov. He shed his daytime armor for a black tuxedo that fits his powerful frame like a second skin. The stark white of his shirt against his tan skin, the stark black of the bow tie, it's a uniform of lethal elegance. His eyes, dark and fathomless, sweep over me from the top of my styled hair down to the silver tips of my stilettos. For a moment he says nothing. The air crackles, thick with unspoken things. Then a slow smile spreads across his face, a genuine expression that transforms him, softening the hard edges and making him devastatingly handsome. "Clara," he says, his voice a low rumble that vibrates through the floor and up my spine. "You will do." He holds out a hand, not a request, but an expectation. I place my fingers in his. His grip is firm, warm, possessive. He leads me from the room, from the penthouse, and into the private elevator. The descent is silent. I can feel the heat of him beside me, a constant, distracting presence. I'm acutely aware of the emeralds at my throat, a gift from the man who is my captor. I'm a fraud playing a part in a gilded cage. A sleek black car is waiting in the garage, a driver standing by the open rear door. Petrov helps me in, his hand lingering for a second on my lower back before he slides in beside me. The partition is up, sealing us in our own intimate, moving cell. "Remember your role," he says, his gaze fixed on the city lights blurring past the tinted windows. "Smile, be charming. You are the woman who has brought the great Dmitry Petrov to his knees." I turn to him, shocked. "What?" He finally looks at me, a glint of amusement in his dark eyes. "That is the story they will believe. A man like me doesn't protect a woman out of the goodness of his heart. There must be a reason, and what better reason than that you are my greatest weakness?" The words are a punch to the gut. He's not just protecting me, he's using me as a strategic asset, a piece in his brutal game. The warmth I felt earlier curdles into ice. "You're a monster," I whisper. He shrugs, completely unfazed. "And yet you are safe with this monster. The alternative is the Volkovs, and they will not be so kind. They will not give you emeralds and silk dresses. They will give you a shallow grave in the waterfront." His phone buzzes. He answers, his voice instantly shifting, all traces of amusement gone, replaced by cold, hard steel. "Talk." He listens for a moment, his jaw tightening. "No, find him, bring him to the warehouse. I'll deal with him after the gala." He hangs up without another word. The casual brutality of the call chills me to the bone. This is the man beside me, the butcher of Brooklyn, and I am on my way to a party with him. The car pulls up to a grand museum, its facade illuminated with floodlights and draped in banners for the Petrov Foundation for Children's Arts. The irony is so thick I could choke on it. A charity for children funded by blood and fear. He opens my door and the flash of cameras is blinding. He places a hand on my back, guiding me through the chaos. The murmurs start immediately. "Is that her? Who is she? I've never seen him with anyone." He ignores them all, his focus straight ahead. Inside, the grand hall is a spectacle of light and wealth. Crystal chandeliers drip from a ceiling painted with frescoes. Champagne flows from fountains, and the room is filled with the city's elite politicians, CEOs, celebrities, all of them smiling, laughing, mingling with the devil himself and not even knowing it. "Stay close," he murmurs in my ear, his breath warm against my skin. He leads me through the crowd, people parting before him like the Red Sea. He introduces me to a senator, a shipping magnate, a judge. Each time the story is the same. "This is Clara," he says, his arm possessively around my waist, "the woman who is making me a better man." They smile and congratulate me, their eyes filled with envy and curiosity. I play my part, smiling demurely, shaking hands, my heart a frantic drum against my ribs. I feel like I'm drowning in champagne and lies. Then I see him, across the room near a marble pillar. A man with a scar cutting through one eyebrow, his eyes cold and dead. I recognize him from the warehouse. He was one of the Volkov shooters. He's not looking at me, but his presence is a beacon of menace in this glittering sea. My blood runs cold, my smile falters. Petrov feels it instantly, his hand tightens on my waist. "What is it?" he asks, his voice low, his eyes following my gaze. He sees the man. His entire body goes rigid, a predator spotting a rival in his territory. "Don't look," he commands, turning me slightly, blocking my view with his own body. "Listen to me, Clara. You will not panic. You will not run. You will stay right here by my side. Do you understand me?" I can only nod, my throat too tight to speak. The man is here, in the middle of Petrov's fortress. This isn't just a challenge, it's an invasion. The air in the room suddenly feels thin, electric. The music seems louder, the lights brighter. I can feel the Volkov man's gaze on me now, a physical weight. Petrov's hand moves from my waist to my hand, his fingers lacing through mine, a gesture that looks intimate to the outside world but is a cage of steel. "Smile," he whispers, his lips brushing against my temple. "The show is just beginning." And as he says the words, the man by the pillar slowly reaches inside his jacket. Would you trust him? Comment and subscribe.